We are exposed to the results of professional video editing all the time. Every YouTube video we watch, movie we see, TV show we stream, and it used to be that high quality video editing required expensive equipment and was reserved for the professionals. But now any person or organisation can make use of software like Adobe Premiere Pro, seen here, to edit high quality video. We believe video editing is one of the vital foundation IT skills you need, whether you need to make a good quality YouTube clip or just make your own home produced video clips look a bit better. We're launching from the start menu a medium cost video editor called MoviePlus, which is on our network and allows you to edit on there. This works in a very similar way to other editing software or web tools you might find. At the bottom of MoviePlus, we find the timeline, where we actually do the editing, although when you first start out you might find it's in storyboard mode, so change this if you need to. The timeline is made up of video and audio tracks, and you can add any number of these if you need them. Just above the timeline is the video preview window, which allows you to play, move back a frame, move back to the beginning of the movie, and also move forward a frame and move to the end. You can right-click on the preview window to adjust things like preview quality or go full screen if you want to. Top right we find the Properties panel, which allows options for whatever you're currently selected, including effects. More on that later. On the left of the Properties panel though, you'll find the Media section, which is where we can import our raw media. Now our first exercise is to learn how to cut raw video and assemble edit into a different order. This is the very basic video editing task and one you're going to want to get good at. So let's get our raw video loaded. You'll find our exercise video file under This PC, RM Shared, Computing, then Year 9, and then the folder Video. The file at the very top, Countdown Raw, is the one that you're going to want. So go ahead and load that in. You'll see it appears in the media panel and will preview if you hover over it. Now to add this to our video, we simply click and drag the video onto the timeline. We can click anywhere on the timeline to show what's in that position. That's what we call the playhead. Clicking and dragging allows us to do what's called scrubbing through the video to see what's there. You can see we have a set of number-based images, then a space shuttle launch, followed by a few more numbers. So for our first task, we've got to build a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6 star countdown, followed by the rocket launching. A perfect exercise in chopping video and reassembling it into the right order, with the right timing. So the first thing we need to do is to cut a slice of 10 from the footage. Now notice top left in the timeline, it shows the playhead position as a timestamp, 2 minutes and 35 seconds exactly. I can cut the video at that point using the scissors icon on the top of the timeline, and the video will slice at that point. I can then scrub forward until the time indicator says 2 minutes 36, 1 second on, and slice again. I can slice also just by using the S key on the keyboard, which is a lot easier. Now that slice is rather thin, so I can also use the zoom buttons on the top right to zoom in a bit if I want to, which makes grabbing that slice a little bit easier. I can click and drag the middle of that slice and move it way off to the left, right to the very front of the video. And so I now have 1 second of 10. So my next job is to run back and find some 9 video. This time I'm not going to be strict, and we're not going to get exactly 1 second. Okay, so just slice at the beginning, slice at the end, and I can then pull that clip and attach it to the right-hand edge of the 10 slice. Now it's really useful to zoom in a bit here again, just to give a bit more control, and you can see I have more than 1 second of 9. However, dragging the right edge of the clip, the right-hand edge, allows me to trim it to the right length, so it finishes at 2 seconds in exactly. So now I have 10 and 9, and I need to go adding the clips to get the rest of the countdown finished and the rocket. So I've speeded this section up because you already know the steps, and the more you do this assemble editing process, the quicker and more fluid this will become. So now that's ready, we can play the footage back, but notice that the default frame is actually the old style, what we call 4:3 style, rather than widescreen format. You'll see the little lines at the top and the bottom. This can be adjusted in the File Project Settings option and going for one of the widescreen choices. Now the video will play back correctly. So you'll see the timing of the video now works perfectly, and we get the rocket launching at the end of the 10-second period. Let's explore a few more things you can do to clips. If you want to fade a clip out at the end, you can drag back the small triangle at the very right-hand edge of the clip. This also works with audio, and it also works at the beginning of clips to perform a fade in. It's worth exploring here some of the other things you can do using the Properties panel. This has features to change the opacity, that's the transparency level, cropping edges, stabilization, and loads of other effects. Let's see what you can do with the transform effect. Now you can change how big the clip is on screen, but you can also change these effects during a clip dynamically. So if we click on keyframes at the top, we can define certain points where the transform changes. So here I can set a keyframe and then set a second keyframe where I make this clip a little bit smaller, and I can then even add a rotation using the control key and distort the shape. The editor automatically changes between these keyframes. I can set another later keyframe and copy-paste the full screen keyframe that I did before into the new one so the transform restores itself. There are loads of other effects such as chroma key, which allows you to key out particular colours, used for example to remove green in flying effects in movies. However, here I can simply, just as an example, remove the white from this image by selecting the effect, choosing a white colour and adjusting the tolerance to allow similar whites and greys to be removed. Once the movie's ready, we can use the export button at the very top to export a pure file copy of the movie. Now, saving the project at this stage will just save the timeline. It's a tiny file, worth doing, but exporting quickly produces a copy of our movie that we can play back outside of MoviePlus, like in VLC Movie Player, or even upload to YouTube. So your first task is to practice just basic cutting of video by producing your own copy of the countdown video. For one or two numbers, why not find your own images and import these into the media selector and use those instead of the ones that have been provided. Now, task 2 will be to select one of the MP4 videos in the OneDrive bin of trailers. These are full-length cinema, movie and game trailers, but your job will be to cut these 3 or 4 minute clips into short 30-second TV adverts. Harder than it sounds. So good luck and have fun with your new skill.